Hey guys, so thanks so much for watching. I want to just talk to you today about something that is really important in understanding where our blockages come from. So in the work that I do as a hypnotherapist and a coach, I kind of can detect and notice a lot of patterns in between what everything comes back to. What it all boils down to is like normally one of a few different limiting beliefs, such as the belief of I am not enough. That is kind of the core of what a lot of people come back to. But what I want to talk to you today about is this belief that is not available to me. So when we have a limiting belief that comes back to that type of topic of that's not available to me, then what happens is we kind of cutting ourselves off from the abundance that's in the universe. So how we get our beliefs, it's normally something that happened as a child, right? Between the ages of 2 and 12. It's when we're kind of like a sponge soaking in what is going on around us. And then we make up justifications or reasons or even judgments about what that means. So when we see something happen around us, we then come back to a belief that we conclude, so to speak. So when we conclude that something is not available to us, it has ramifications, not just in our life when we're a child, but it continues on right throughout our entire adulthood. So one example of a limiting belief is fear of commitment. So, you always see those people around, right? Or you have those girlfriends that hook up with a man that's just emotionally unavailable to them. And so the fear behind someone who's perpetually finding themselves afraid to commit is the fear that unconditional love is not available to them. So this fear that something is available can manifest itself in so many different ways. It can stop you from having the fantastic life of your dreams if you have a belief around that success isn't available to you, for example. Or if you have a limiting belief around something like financial wealth is not available to me, then that is going to show up in the way that you manage your money and the way that you can probably never really achieve your financial goals. So I also have a limiting belief. I think pretty much everyone has limiting beliefs because we're human. And so I have a limiting belief. I'll tell you about mine so that you can get an example of how we can kind of figure out what these things are and then move past them. So I have a belief that limits me in showing up and being seen. I kind of feel like I need to hide a piece of myself. And that I figured out that it has come from like when I was younger, my family would maybe tease me. If I showed my spiritual side too much, they'd be like, oh my God, here we go again, Dalai Rani, tell us what you want to say, or whatever, and tease me like that, which was super funny at the time, but I think it kind of like planted a seed in my head that my spiritual side maybe won't be always so accepted. And then also like with my mum and dad's divorce, I showed up in like a very unconditionally loving way, and no matter what, I wouldn't judge my dad, or I wouldn't agree with my mom that he was so bad. And so when I showed up with that unconditional love and more of a spiritual equanimity, she couldn't really accept that. So that also stuck in the back of my mind because I was still a developing teen in that time. So that stuck with me too, and I also thought, okay, so if I go into that, I'm not going to be accepted. So my limiting belief of not being fully acceptable when I release this spiritual side of mine, or if I release this compassionate side, it's kind of holding me back. So I don't want to be limited by that anymore. So I discovered that through going deep within and in the subconscious mind, and now I'm like moving past that, hence why I'm being seen on this platform, how I want to get my message out, and I don't want to have that hanging over me. So it's the same for my clients. They find that there's something in the way, there's something that's blocking them from accessing the life that they want, and when that happens, it's due to just one thing. Our conscious mind doesn't align with our subconscious mind. So our conscious mind might be thinking, I want to have a fantastic job and earn heaps of money. But our subconscious mind might be there in the background. Well, not in the background, actually, it's 80% of our brain. Our subconscious mind might be saying, you know what, no matter how hard you try, you're never going to have money. So these limiting beliefs are just there and they run the show. Our subconscious mind is kind of like a wild horse that can't be tamed, and our conscious mind is like an out of control, inexperienced rider who is trying to get what it wants. So my job as a therapist is to connect those two, to get the subconscious mind in line with what the conscious mind wants. And when we have that, that's when the magic starts to happen in our lives. That's when we really can have the things that we want. So I really urge you to look within and to just try and see what patterns you can notice in your limiting beliefs. What are you thinking that's holding you back? What are your fears that are getting in the way? And chances are the fears that you have are normally just based on nothing anyway. Fear is a very old instinct that we had that was super useful when we were on the plains of Africa, but not so useful in day-to-day life these days, because fear is really designed to keep us safe and to keep us alive. But what it's doing to in our modern lives is just keeping us small, keeping us hidden, keeping us, trapped in a box. So I'm here to help you release your fears. I'm here to help you get the life that you want, and I offer free 30-minute sessions. So if you're interested in finding out what it's like to work with me, or if you're interested in finding out how it is possible for you to get what you want in life, then just send me a direct message and we can set up a time to speak. All right, guys, well, I hope you enjoyed this. Please feel free to comment below. I'd love to hear your perspective on what I said. Thanks so much.